Thank you, brother. I sure appreciate that. Yeah, anytime I am behind the scene, I always know he's going to be there to take care of me. Now, that is really hot.
Yeah.
Or I'm really hot. I don't know when. Are we good? Good deal. You guys having fun so far?
Yeah.
You know, this is amazing because I've watched this company prior to the launch. Watching where they're going, watching what they're doing, watching what they want to do. There's a loophole in the FDA law that says anybody can be a formulator. Go to prison, kill somebody, doesn't matter. You can be a formulator. However, when we deal with cannabis, the regulations are so tight that everything gets done correctly. When I did the history and realized what they were doing, when I met Janelle and realized what B-Bomb was, I realized, you know what, not only is it a category creator, but you actually have a company that's willing to put the money behind producing quality products that change people's lives. And that got me excited. Now, it wasn't always that way. It took Charles's boy, I love millennials, to have enough gumption to send an email. Troy, there's this new marijuana MLM company legal in all 50 states. Yeah, right. But he did pique my curiosity. So I sent him an email back. We started a little dialogue. Then I found out that my attorney was involved. And I called him and said, what are you doing? He goes, oh man, Jeff Rogers got me into it. And it's like, what? And like Jeff, all of a sudden I went through an educational process. I started learning something. I started realizing that the crusade behind this company is far bigger than probably anybody in this room realizes. I had the privilege growing up in this industry. I signed my first agreement at 18 with a mentor that was bald-headed and fat and was a coach in Georgia named A.O. Williams. Now here's the cool thing about this. He was on a crusade and a mission to right a wrong to Middle America. The leadership in this company are on a mission to right a wrong to the whole country. Now, if one man could change the insurance industry, what can one organization like this with the leadership they've got do to change the whole country? That's what you've got your hands on. I'm done. Let's look at something here. And I don't know what slide's up because I can't see the slide on the wall. Oh, there it is, right there. Let's go back here. Here's the most, I know, but see, you picked that up. Here's the most important part about this. It's not what I've been or what I do or who we contact or any of that. It's the two last words. Because everything that I do has to do with my wife and my kids. I'm raising 6 kids, 32 to 11, and now I'm raising 3 granddaughters. Okay? They mean the world to me. Every one of them are in the business one way or the other, including my bodyguard. He's 11, great kid. He couldn't be here this week. But here's the thing. Our whole family's in the home-based business. My wife is a romance writer, 33 books, 4 bestsellers. Thank you, Harlequin. Okay? Great stuff, and they really are. But we learned a long time ago, if you want to succeed at anything that you do, there's something you've got to do. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. When Troy Neihart decided to go on this mission, he started calling people, Charles, Jeff, others. And all of a sudden, they had to get out of their comfort zone. Because every one of them were just like I was. Unless you've actually studied what cannabis really can do, or you've got a health issue and you're looking for alternative health remedies, most of us have been indoctrinated. We think everything is what we saw on TV, read in the newspaper, saw in a magazine, CIA dropped in Vietnam. I mean, one of those things. We believe everything we read. If you want to succeed today, it's good. We got a lot of VIPs here. That's smart. I met a lot of you yesterday. But if you want to take this business or anything you do in life, you've got to get out of your comfort zone where the fun starts. My wife asked me to marry her when we were 22, and we were sitting at a restaurant. She got out of her comfort zone. It scared me to death. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, and puked. Then I came back and said, well, and that was not the word she wanted, so she took those cruise tickets back. We worked through that. But I had to get out of my comfort zone to where the fun starts. Now, the fun thing is, we had met at 16, got married at 22, and have been together 27 years. Okay, so the fun's continuing to go. I want you to remember this. This is very important. Where one's distinctive talents intersect with the needs of the world, there lies your epic adventure. And if any of you guys have followed me, you know that my tagline is living an epic adventure. You look at this picture, and now you think of Kannaway. It's where the impossible becomes possible. For 75 years, it wasn't possible for this company to exist. Ever. And with the signature on a bill that became law, all of a sudden the timing and everything came together. But it goes back to that other slide. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to leave here all pumped up, excited. You're going to go home. You're going to say, man, everybody's got a great story. I know I can get my story. And you're going to go talk to somebody, and they're going to say, no, I'm not interested. Don't want to do that. Don't care. Don't smoke it. Don't, mama, no. That's what you're going to hear. But when impossible becomes possible, and you hear that, you remember the picture that you're looking at. Because I don't know about you, but I would hate to be in her position. But yet she's got a passion. She's doing something. See, it's time for you to realize what your life's purpose is. I believe that if you're in this room today, then you need to understand that the men and women that are in this company, from the very top to the very bottom, are drawn here because of the purpose of this company. I've seen a lot of stuff in the last year that all startup companies go through. Doesn't matter how much money you've got on the backside, doesn't matter how much brains you've got, you are just going to go through obstacles. That's just the way life is. But their purpose has never deviated. We are here to help people. Harper yesterday at the press conference was a prime example. We're here to help people. You guys have something in your hands that's amazing. You've got to become purpose-inspired leaders. Brand new person, never been in the business. Troy, I don't have anybody. It's just me. You need to lead yourself. Or you need to realize that there's me, you know, that's the way it is. Me, myself, and I. Absolutely. Okay? You got to lead. Now, here's the deal. You got to lead with purpose. And most people probably don't know what their purpose is. They don't have a clue. You're sitting there trying to figure it out, because most companies don't. You ask a company, why are you here? Well, we got a vision statement. Or we got a mission statement. I didn't ask that. Why are you here? This company truly has a purpose that's definitive. They've defined it, and you can do the same thing. But in order to do that, there's something you have to do. You've got to start writing down daily. Not just your activity. That's pretty basic sales. But you need to start writing down what you went through. When you heard that first no in the middle of the morning, how did it make you feel? What went through your mind? What did you learn from it? By the end of the night, when you got another yes, how did you feel? What was the excitement that you felt? See, if you're not journaling where you're going, how are you going to know where you've been? This isn't rocket science, but you got to do something. They may use a network marketing compensation plan, but it's not get rich quick. Especially if it's cannabis. You've got a lot of education to overdo with people. Here's how we're going to break this down. The treasure chest of strategy. If you want to build a business, this is what you've got to know. Number one is your why. Why are you here? What? And not just in Kannaway either. Why the Sam Hill are you here on this earth? Okay, that's a big deal. Now, I know why I'm here. And for the last however many years I've been in this business, 35, I've done it. Unlike a lot of people that say, I've been in the business 35 years and all they've ever been is a distributor, I've run every role there is to be except the formulate. We own a software company. I've been a consultant, generated more leads in this industry than anybody else, ran the most high-risk company. You think cannabis is good? Good as a bail bond company. Okay? But we had no internal consumption, so it was a good thing. But I mean, it's tough. Okay? When you put a comp plan to something and you run it, it's a tough business. I have been in I know how you feel. I can empathize with every distributor here. Thing is, I can also empathize with the owners. I can empathize with the executive team. Hardest thing to do is to be a Jeff Rogers or a Ryan Vanderpool or a Troy Nahart or a Charles Best who've been reps. Because then they get up here and they're running a company, and you want to know what happens? You get the Seth Frazier and the Billies and everybody else. Man, we want this, we want this, we want this. And it's like, man, we felt that way too, but we can't do that. If we give them everything they want, the business will go upside down. I see more companies do that because they don't have what we need here. They don't have a purpose. They don't have a culture. See, your cultures and your values are what you're doing. They create that synergy that will change the world. Now, a lot of people don't realize, but think about this. I'm going to go back to our earlier point. The life insurance industry is a monopoly. It is an exempt monopoly, meaning that there is a federal law that says none of the monopoly rules apply. They can do anything they want to do. Have you ever gone downtown Dallas and looked at the buildings that are there? Life insurance and banks. And one little guy from Georgia, this ought to be really fun, because I can't see my slides at all. Okay. Oh, but that one's still up. I'll add this deal. But here's the deal. He said, I can do this because his dad had died and left his mom just $10,000 of life insurance, and then his cousin told him, man, if she had that term insurance stuff, she'd have had $100 grand and wouldn't have had to go back to work. So he went on a mission. Now think about it. Because isn't that the mission you're on? See, he knew what his why was, he knew what he was going to do, and he knew how he was going to do it. And he went doing it. Oh, that worked good. Number one, your why's got to be timeless. You can't say, okay, I know what my why is, Troy. I want to go to, give me a rank. I want to go to regional marketing director because I want to get an iPad. Whichever one is okay. Oh, that's right. See? But you can't do that. That's not big. That's not timeless. Your why has to be to change the world. It's got to be so deep-seated in your heart. It's got to be bigger than yourself. I love using Apple computers as an example. Because most people look at Apples, I mean, it's like the most quality stock out there. It's got the best products. You're all playing with one today. But Steve Jobs didn't care about the money. That's not why he did that. He realized that if he could just make life easy for people, if they could use a computer, it would be cool. And they launched. And then he said, you know what, I can do better than this. If we can make everybody have an individual experience, that's what that little I is for. How many in here's got an iPhone? Okay. How many of you think your iPhones all look alike? A couple. Well, here's the deal. I bet her case is different than mine because it's leather. I bet if she's got one, it's going to be a different color. See, everybody's got that individual experience. He changed an industry because he wanted to give you something you could be proud of. See, your why's got to be that big. Your why's got to teach. You guys teach people? I think so. You're educating the world on cannabis, are you not? See, when you've got a why that deep, think about that. Maybe it's just not cannabis. I told somebody the other day, we were talking because I carry this little binder around with me. It's got all my goodies in it. It's like my man purse, but it looks really, alpha male instead of beta male, so it's really cool. Okay, but here's the deal. Somebody said, that looks like a Bible. So, well, that's not my Bible. I mean, I read the Bible, but I use a Kindle. It's pretty cool. Okay, I don't have to carry a big Bible. But here's the deal. I've got so many kids, they all want something when I die. And I want to leave a legacy. Okay? But my 18-year-old daughter the other day came up to me and said, Dad, can I just have your Bible? why? And she goes, because you're always writing it. And I thought, wow, I just got a new why. See, I was writing for myself all these years. But all of a sudden, she wants me to be writing for her. Now, she may change her mind and never want my Bible when I die. Lord knows I don't want to die. I want to be as old as Charles. But if it happens, then that was quick, wasn't it? That was really good. I've got a new why. See, your why is always going to be growing. It's not going to be dying. Your why's got to fulfill something. It's got to fulfill something in yourself, in your family, and in the world. The biggest companies in the world all have whys. A lot of times the whys are down to the individual products. I'll use something and some of you could get offended, and that's okay because I got the mic. But there's this, and I've got all daughters. So you gotta, well, I don't have all daughters, but in the house today I do. So you gotta understand this. Sometimes dad's at the store, and either mom or the daughters forget that they need something that month. So I get a phone call, hey, while you're there, can you do so-and-so? Well, that used to be real easy. But then they got big wall, and I don't know what to get. And they got all these kinds. It makes it tough. But I started doing research. Because that's what I do. I research companies. I want to know about things. And I found out that there's this brand of female paraphernalia. And it's called Always. And I thought, man, this gotta mean something for somebody. What is Always? What's that mean? So I started studying the brand. And this is something that shows when you've got a driving cause for something. See, it takes care of a need here in America. But for every box that's sold, money goes to Kenya to teach young ladies in school that start to have their period, that they don't have to quit school out of embarrassment and never get their education. And all of a sudden, the country's starting to shift because a product who has a mission to educate a bigger cause than just a monthly issue is changing the world. Now, that's an apples to orange, except that it's a giant purpose for a brand. The people, Pampers. How many of you got kids? How many of you still use natural diapers? Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you about Pampers. Every pack of Pampers sold, a child in a third world country gets an immunization. See, those are purposes. Those are things bigger than the bottom line. The mission that you're on, what you guys are doing, it's got to be bigger than the bottom line. Your why's got to be your battle cry. I'm going to make them rewind my time clock too now that I've got all screwed up. Your why has to be your battle cry. I watched yesterday at a press conference. Every person behind that table. Matter of fact, from the little bitty Harper who yelled out to every person, knowing they were facing a media that they've never faced before in this country, who may be friendly or may not be friendly. But not one of them backed off of the crusade that they were on. What's always excited me about this is whether I'm meeting with them with a group, whether we're out having a good time just being friends, whether I've got them one-on-one. Every one of them knows their purpose and why they're here. Every time I talk to somebody in the field, I love this more than anything. If I talk to somebody that's passionate about this company, they are passionate about the products. They start talking about the crusade and what it can do. When I talk to people that have left this company, they never talk about the products. They don't know anything about the products. Well, I just didn't think I was going to like the comp plan, or I just didn't like the way they dressed. Well, I didn't like it. I mean, they got more daggum excuses than you can shake a stick at. Because they don't have that heart. They don't have the same purpose as this company. They don't have the same crusade that this company does. See, you're going to go through this, guys. This whole thing is like really weird. It's around, doesn't it? Little thing, you're going to like a fly. Here's the deal. If you're here, and you want to be here a year from now, you got to have a purpose that's just burning a hole in your heart. It's got to be huge. Your why's got to be transformational. It's got to be changing you. It's got to be changing the people around you. It's changed me. I use the products. I don't use every product that comes through our door. And I didn't even use all the products when I was a distributor. And so it's one of those things that you look at and you think, man, do I really want to use this? And I started using it. And I'm not consistent, but I can tell a difference when I use the products. They're transforming my life. So I believe that when I go back home, I've got somebody else that's going to use the products. Because while I was gone, I found out that the grandmother to one of my grandbabies has cancer. And we're not going to go into the medical side, but she's too skinny and too weightless for chemo. It's like, well, heck, man, from all these stories that I've been reading online, I'm going to be calling Troy and saying, hey, is there something we can do here? Can we help her out? A little pain, a little something? You know, because I think at the end of the day, if we're not having a crusade so big that we can help people, that's transformed, what happens if we can transform somebody's life out there? I mean, think about this. How many of you are probably secret agents? You don't want anybody to know that, hey, by the way, I get paid through a network marketing comp plan too. So I don't want to talk to them about the business. You know, I don't want to talk to them about products because they probably don't want the products. They're probably not interested. I mean, we all go through this. Look, don't lie. You guys are just as scared to talk to people as anybody else. It just happens sometimes. There's just certain people in your life you just haven't talked to yet. And that can be a strange situation. But you know what? I'm going to tell you a story. And this was when I was younger and I was with AOE. And I was having a beer with a buddy of mine from the Marine Corps. And across the street, a friend of his came over to have a beer with us. And you know, I mean, I wasn't a secret agent. And, dude, you need life insurance. You got 2 kids playing in the yard. No, man, I can't afford it. Come back and talk to me next week. No. Here's why you need it. No, man, I just want a beer. Okay, I let it go. I went over and saw my buddy a week later. And that same guy had been at the wrong place in the wrong time. All he wanted to do is go fishing. Went to his favorite fishing hole, interrupted a drug deal, and they killed him. And his kids had 0. I didn't push hard enough to say, man, I need to transform your life. I need to help your kids. You just never know when something's going to happen. And when you don't know what's going to happen, you need to do something about it. My granddaughter's grandmother didn't know when she went to the doctor that they were going to tell her she had some disease. Guys, you've got to hear me. You've got to have a why so freaking deep in your heart that no matter what the aggravation is, no matter what the struggle is, no matter what the excuse, the frustration, whatever you want to call it, that you realize that if this is where you're supposed to be, there's not a deal, there's not a situation, there's nothing besides death that keep you from fulfilling what you're here to do. I want to talk about the culture, because if you're gonna push your why, you've got to create the culture. This company's creating an overall culture that's beautiful. But what are you creating for your individual teams that meet? See, they're going to follow you. If you create a culture that's unethical, hey man, let's just go out and do whatever it takes. Let's go out to win at all costs. I think there's an NFL team that's under scrutiny for that. You don't want to do that. You want to build a culture. Your culture is going to define the shared beliefs that you have. Jeff talked about that. Jeff and I have shared beliefs outside of this. Charles and I have shared beliefs outside of this. Troy and I have shared beliefs outside of this. I hang with people that I know I can trust. I know that if something happened to me, I'd have no problem saying, honey, call Charles. He can take care of some stuff here. He knows what we're doing with Kannaway. It's all good. You got to have people like that in your organization. There's 11 people started A.O. Williams. When A.O. Williams started, the whole industry started changing. And similar to what you guys go through in the cannabis field, 50 insurance commissioners wanted to put them out of business because the life insurance industry didn't like a bunch of ragtag, part-time networkers selling life insurance. Didn't like it at all. But he hung true to that. He fought through that. Those 11 people fought through it with him, and from 77 to 1990, they built something that was unbelievable. And in 1990, Citigroup bought them and made them all multi-millionaires and made art of billions. Don't tell me network marketing doesn't work. You've got a crusade that can change the world. So he proved that. And I believe you guys are just in the infancy stages of what you can do. Think about this. We're just talking about America. But I don't think disease stops at our borders. I think it goes everywhere. I think that we can do some crazy things in South America, Africa, Australia, Europe. There's no reason that this crusade can't become a tsunami. But you've got to believe what you're doing. You've got to build that culture that's going to change anything. See, when a company and a field come together, when all of a sudden it's not us against them, but it's we, you can't be stopped. Herbalife's a prime example right now. For almost 18 months, 2 billionaires have been playing with their stock and playing with people's lives. One billionaire says they're a pyramid scheme. Other billionaire says, no, they're the greatest health and nutrition company in the world. You know what? Their people in the field have rallied around the fact that they believe in their mission. And they have just kept on going, and sales have just kept on going up. Stocks come down, but the sales just keep going up because they're changing people's lives with what they do. Because they have that belief that was instilled in them when the founder of that company, Mark Hughes, launched it. He's died a decade ago. But the crusade went on. So I believe here, the leaders of Kannaway could disappear today. And the crusade has already started to move so deep that you guys would carry on their legacy. You believe that part, and that's what you've got to do. The culture is what makes the company come alive. I get emails all the time. Hey, Troy, did you hear about this company? No. What's the name of the company? Get paid every 24 hours? No, I haven't heard about that one. Well, they haven't paid me. Well, you should have known that one going into it. There's no crusade behind something like that. You know, it's like every time I hear somebody say, man, I'm bringing out a new energy drink. Why? We got enough of them. I mean, give me something that's distinctive. You guys have that. There's no other players in this business. Think about that. You have a wide open field. You just blew away everybody's excuses. Man, I wish I'd been there when Amway was getting started. Man, I wish I'd have been there when Visalis got started. Oh, you know, they almost went bankrupt. But that's a different story. You don't want to be there. Listen, we hear it all the time. Or you hear, oh man, that company's too old. Can't make any money over there. You don't, every excuse, they don't have it. The only one they have is, well, that's a startup company. Yeah, like valuated for a couple $100 million. Okay, not too shabby. I mean, you know, come on. If you believe in your heart, you're going to create the culture that's going to come alive, and people aren't going to care. You're going to sit down and say, well, let me draw out the circles and explain the comp plans. They aren't going to care about that. Just tell them where to sign up, because I got somebody I need to go talk to. This is powerful. We need to be on top of this. This is revolutionary. That's why guys in this room are here. That's why my brother, Robert Dean, sat back there. He didn't have to be here. He came here. Wanted to. Austin didn't have to be here. He came here. Ryan didn't have to be here. Just came here. When you've got a crusade, I tell you what, I love my ears being played with. This is ridiculous. When you start rallying like this, all of a sudden the word starts getting out. People want to be a part of it. But here's what you got to do. Write this down. I love these. You got to rave. You got to rave about people. That means you've got to take care of your team, and here's what you've got to do. You've got to respect every person on your team. To the newest customer, I don't care if they're brand new recruit, I don't care what they're doing. You have to respect them. Come on, build. They may not be there yet. Love on them. They're there. Just figure out where they're at, because you never know. They might not be ready today. They might just be kind of, I don't know yet, man. My preacher, he says that I'm going to hell if I touch this stuff. Whatever it is, you just guide them along, educate them. And all of a sudden, if you've respected them, they're still going to be here. You've got to appreciate where they're at in life. And no, there's not a leader. I tell you what, there's not a leader that stays a leader who doesn't appreciate where a person's at in life. And that means you better know their spouse, their kids' name. You better know what they're going through. I had a little gal, I just blessed her heart. I'm on Facebook, and she sends me a message on December 17th. Hey, I see that you're in network marketing, and I don't know, I just posted something on some company, and she goes, I bet I've got a better opportunity than you, and I'd love to help you, and I'm just about to make $30,000 a month. I just love that, just about ready to, you know. So I was a little frustrated that day. A little weird thing happened. But I was polite, and I wrote her back, thank you for the little private message. You said you're just about to make $30,000 a month. How much are you making? So she writes back, well, it doesn't matter how much I'm making, how much are you making? And I was I told you, it's a bad day, and I'll share with you why. So I lost my cool at that point. Okay, and I don't publicly say what I make, and I'm not going to do it today, but I definitely told her how much I made, and it was more than the $30,000 that she was talking about.